Hello, boys and girls. I don't know, but anyway, boom, hello. The day you all been waiting for. But before we get too excited, very, very important, let me start out with this disclaimer. As it says in the description, I'm literally gonna start on multiplayer today. So it means I'm gonna branch out, start from scratch, adding multiplayer to the game. So, what can you expect today? If everything goes great, really great, over the next couple of hours, I will have 2 beans running around in the game and not be able to do anything other than running around. And I say beans because the current player character is just like something that looks like a bean, as you will see in this live stream. So when that's said, as I also say every time I talk about multiplayer, I'm gonna look into multiplayer now and not now, but this year or for the next long time, I'm gonna give multiplayer a big test and see if it's something that I can add and make it good enough and get it right. And if I can, I will of course add it to the game. But I cannot promise it will be a part of the game, and that's very, very important for me to say that this doesn't mean that multiplayer is coming, because multiplayer by itself is a very, very, very big task. Adding multiplayer to an existing single player game is an insane task, and adding it to a game that supports mods is almost impossible. So, I have all the odds against me, but I used to get stuff to work. So time-wise, if this goes well, we might have something that is playable in, if you're very lucky, 1 year, not so lucky, 2 years time, very unlucky, not at all. But let's see. I'm doing these live streams, and I will continue to do that, not every time I work on multiplayer, but I thought it would be a good idea to start out with this live stream so we can look back at it, hopefully in the future, and see and remember that this is where it started. And the ones of you who are here can remember that you would you have a mic feedback loop. Let me listen. So like echoing, or does it sound all weird? I'm coming to the packages, JJ Blocks, and I'm actually gonna follow because I don't know anything. That's another thing. I don't know anything about multiplayer. I think 1 or 2 years ago, I did a simple little test of multiplayer game with the old Unity netcode thing, and didn't really get it to work, to be honest. Not even running around. I had 2 players, but they were at the same location, and they were at 2 different locations, but they were using the same camera, and that was kind of the challenge at that point. But I think I will fix something out. Guanaco, make multiplayer without mods. Yes. The way you do stuff like this is to keep it simple. So and that's also how you build a game in general. Make small steps. So I will, first let's get some connection. Let the player run around. Let's spawn some stuff. Let's do very, very small things, characters and mods and something like that. It's way out in the future. We need to get the foundation and basic stuff to work. So, JJ Blocks, you said something about the mic. Does it sound different or weird or? Okay, Guanaco said mine is fine. Sounds fine to me, kinda. But it is kind of an echoey room, even though I have some stuff here on the walls that should mimic or lower the echo, but it is kind of with tiles on the floor and a flat ceiling, so it's not the best. It's not a sound studio, at least. But this mic shouldn't pick up too much of all that, so I hope it's fine. But I recently updated OBS, I think, so something could have gone wrong. So that was why I was like, if there should be a problem. I have recorded some videos where the sound was fine, so I wasn't expecting to be any issues. Anyway, yes, so let's go for the bean simulator at first. So it's very, very important to note that, you know, as I said, I'm starting out today, but it will be at least a year or two before the majority of you guys can play it. So, and that's if everything goes fine. But that's how it is. And now I will start, I guess, unless somebody have some questions. So yeah, so today, as I said, I think I said, if everything goes fine, we will have 2 beans running around in 2 instances of the game, you know, in the same game on my machine. Because connecting over internet, blah blah blah, that's next step. Christmas RPDK says, how long do you think it's gonna take? Yeah, as I said, I've never made a multiplayer game before, so my guess is, if everything goes good, 1 year. If everything goes not so good, 2 years. And if everything goes south, not at all. So let's see. Community Go said if I add character people, people will make mods to go back to the bean. Yeah. I can hear Guanaco clicking Unity, file new project. But seriously, we are far out in the future, stuff like that. As you will see over the next couple of hours, I guess I will run into many problems. So I might, and that's also very, as I said, if it goes well, we have 2 beans running around. But maybe the chances are, there are better odds for it not working at all. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow, to get started, a video by CodeMonkey. Let's open it up here. Because he made a very good introduction thing, getting started video. So let's do like this. Let's just make sure that the game runs, just so we know. We also need to branch out. Again, also a little disclaimer. This is gonna be a very technical live stream. Even more than it used to. Yeah, CodeMonkey, that's his name. Oh, we have a new follower. So following, I will say hello to this guy, but I guess he was following on Twitch, because that's why it says following. And we are not streaming on Twitch, we're only on YouTube right now. So yeah, I'm a little in doubt about why it shows. Well, it shows up because he clicked there. Anyway, let's do a quick test just to see it works. Blah 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 blah. Yep. Okay, fine. So we need to stop. I just I thought it was all prepared, but then it turns out that I did some backup thing yesterday, and then I deleted the library folder in the game. And as you know, the ones of you who do Unity, when you delete the library folder, it takes quite a while before it generates all the files again when it's starting up. So luckily I saw it before I started the stream, so it could kind of get back into the game. Okay, anyway, let's start up again here. So I just need to get the game up and running without any pending changes here. That's but it's just, you know, having your project you know, all set, no pending changes, everything in order before doing stuff. Why so long? Why so long before it's maybe done? Because it takes a long time to make games, especially multiplayer games, and especially when you're doing it in your spare time, like I am. So So far, I've been working on the game since I actually looked yesterday, and the first commit was from the 5th, I think, of January 2019. That's where I made the first check-in on the game, or first commit. Created the Unity project, you could say. So things take a long time, both technical challenges, but actually more than you might think. Takes time to figure out how to do things right. First, you spend time on making things work. Actually technically work. You can pick up a stuff, or you can spawn stuff if you're talking about a general normal game. But then making it so it feels easy, intuitive, works well, doesn't crash, blah 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 blah. That takes a long time. And we can't just ask the AI chat thing to do it for us, even though Guanaco tried. Yeah. Okay. Good. So we have game running here. It works. Yes. Perfect. Great. So let's stop again. Okay. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna branch out, and that's something you do. Yeah. It's a developer thing. I don't know how many of you are developers. So if you're not, just learn from this. When you are developing stuff, software, that means also games, you use something, you should use something to control or keep track of your changes and keep your source in control, aka a source control system. I'm using Git, and with that you can do branches. And talking about branches, I also want to state that I'm starting on multiplayer now, but that will have my main focus really. So, but it will run also, even though I'm only one person on the project, it will run kind of in parallel with some other minor changes to the main game. So like I have a plan to add a few more languages and a few bug fixes and stuff, and minor things I will add to the game during the year. So just know that there will come smaller updates to the game. So don't get totally hyped next time you see an update in Steam for the game. It's not multiplayer, I can assure you that. It's just might be a small thing. Gook39, welcome. I don't think you're watching here because you most likely just followed on Twitch, but anyway, welcome. So where was I coming from? Yeah, so I will run it in parallel as good as I can. So there will be smaller updates to the game on Steam during the year while I'm still working on this one. But of course I have to switch back and forth. I can only work on one thing at a time, of course. But yeah, code-wise it will be in parallel. Anyway, so let's branch out and do a branch called 2023-multiplayer. Oh, what am I getting into? Oh. And this doesn't solve anything. It's just a branch, so I can work in this and go back and forth. Okay, so here we are. Here we go. Okay. So now I have this. So now we can start nice and slowly. And let's go maybe a little back. Let's get into the stuff here.
The description. Okay, so let's learn all about netcode for game objects. Let's begin by installing the package. So for that, let's go.
Oh, again, another thing. I have done a little research. I actually watched this entire video and a lot of other videos about multiplayer, so I have an idea of how to get set up. And because that's what I'm gonna start with, and then later on I'm gonna research whatever issues I'm running into. So I have seen this video before, but I can't remember everything, and I haven't tried it before. So I'm starting from scratch, but I'm not starting from not knowing anything. I have seen the video before, just haven't tried it. So let's take a look.
And open up the package manager. And now over here, let's go into the NT registry and then scroll down until you find the netcode for game object.
Is the music a little too loud, maybe?
Although I should note one very important thing, which is make sure you're using Unity version 2021.3.
22 are watching. Whoa. Hype. Woo. The hype is real. Let's see how many are left in a couple of hours when I'm about to give up and throw the machine out of the window. Okay.
10 or later. If you're using an earlier version, it won't show up over here on the package manager. For example, while researching this topic, I was testing with a project on 21.3.0, and in that version it does not show up. So do make sure you have 21.3.10 or later.
Can you, by the way, how is the sound on the video here? Is it too low? It's just, I think it's important that you can hear what he's saying too. That was a subscriber. Thunder Change. Welcome. And you might be watching here. And I have audio and everything. Do you also have sound on this, right? Could be a bit. Okay, so I'll turn it up a bit. Turn down the music a bit. And let's see.
Or alternatively, you can also install it by selecting the path. If you go into the official multiplayer doc.
Yeah, okay. So we need to go in here and we need to go to the package manager and we need to go to the registry and this video, by the way, is from September or something last year, 4 months ago. So netcode for game objects, that's one. Okay, let's see.
Over here you see the path, so com.unity.netcode.gameObjects. So you could copy that and then paste it over here on add package by name. But like I said, make sure you're using 21.3.10 and it will show up on the package manager, so let's just install. Alright, the package is installed. Now
okay, so let's install the package. So which version did he have, just for reference? He have netcode 1.0.2 and we have 1.1.0. So something happened. So I might not be able to follow the guide completely, but let's see. Also, I'm gonna set up some tools that I already know I'm gonna need. For instance, when you want to test a multiplayer game, you want to, obviously test it with have 2 instances of the game, and building the entire game, going into it, blah 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 blah, doesn't really scale that well. It takes too long. So there is a tool called Parallel Sync that I never tried before, but I have heard multiple YouTubers and stuff like that reference that tool. So it's just a tool that can take basically and just have another Unity instance up and running that syncs your current project. So you basically have 2 Unity projects, so you can run both of them and then use that, because that's much faster than actually building the game. So we will set that up later too for testing purposes. Okay, so we have netcode for game objects.
Alright, the package is installed. Now the first thing we need for multiplayer is a network manager. So let's create an empty new game object. Let's call this the network manager. Let's reset transform, just keep things clean.
Okay, just gets going.
Let's go here into add component. Let's find netcode, and then inside netcode, let's create a network manager.
Network manager. So in our case, that will be not here. We need to go into a map. Let's say town here, because in Fireworks Mania, I think the network manager will be on the maps essentials scene, because that's a scene that is loaded for all maps. So and it's loaded before the actual scene is loaded, when it's loaded normally. So that will be the place to add it here. So let's create a network manager. Boom. That, and then we should be able to, or maybe we should let me just check something. Okay, let me just check in that I added netcode for game objects. Anyway, so here we can add the network. By the way, let me know how the music volume is compared to my voice and compared to the video, just so I know, because I turned down the music a little more for myself here. So, network manager. Oh, so let's see. Here I also says something about this.
This is the main component that handles pretty much everything related to multiplayer. Also, I should point out that you should...
Okay, network manager. Okay, I didn't know that. Network manager is nested under managers. Network manager cannot be nested. Yeah, I can fix that. I'll fix that. So, okay, so that cannot be nested. It needs to be in the root. Okay, interesting. But we can live with that. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Access tools for multiplayer developer by install multiplayer tools. Yeah, that's. I think he also mentions that later on in the video. Yeah, it cannot be nested apparently. I didn't know that.
Only one of these components, so make sure you don't have multiple. Then on this component, we see this info warning. It's telling us we probably want to install the multiplayer tools package as well. We're going to see about that package later on in the video, but still let's quickly install it just to make sure that this warning disappears. So over here on the package manager, right above the netcode for game objects is the multiplayer tool, so let's just install this.
We do that.
Okay, the package is installed. So back into the network manager.
Okay, relax.
The next thing that...
I can't cut it out, so we have to wait for it actually to go in. Very exciting. And one thing I already know we will run into is something with the camera, because that's attached to the player currently, and that's not super ideal. That's also why I want to change the player character, but now we get into too much detail, I think, for now. Okay, so let's see.
That we need is to pick over here the network transport layer. This is what actually handles sending and receiving the underlying packets. One great thing is that this part is modular, which means that you can use netcode for game objects with different transports. So for example, when making a Steam game, you could swap this out for the Steam transport layer and everything else would work. But over here, let's stick with the basics and let's use the included transport layer. So let's click over here on select transport and let's select the Unity transport. Alright, so it's selected, and down here we see a bunch of Unity transport things. Let's leave all of the parameters with default. So with this, the basic setup is done. Now let's create a simple player character. So let's create an empty game object.
We already have that.
Player. Let's reset the transform. And now for a visual, let's go inside and let's create a simple capsule. Let's just offset it on the Y by 1. So there you go. There's my simple player visual.
There you have the
So
bean.
now to make this
Boom.
object that is going to exist on the network, let's add the component. So let's go into add component. Let's go inside netcode. And this time we want to make this a network object. All right, that's it. No need.
Okay, so we need to open the player up. And let's see, can we... maybe we can... Okay. So on the player, and I have to redo a lot in the player anyway, for many reasons. So, but at least what he's saying is that we need because it's an object that should be synced over the network. We need to add a network object. So let's see here. Network object. Boom. Always. No.
Need to touch any of these. Next, the way that the system works is by spawning a prefab for each player. So let's first make this into a prefab. So just drag it over here into the project window. This is now prefab.
We have a prefab already.
Network manager, and over here we've got a field for the player prefab, and let's just drag our player prefab. So now when a player connects, it will automatically spawn this prefab for each player. Although here, let me also quickly point out that this is not mandatory. For example, on some strategy games like Civilization or Command & Conquer, you might not want to have a player prefab, since in those games you don't really have a single player character. So for making those types...
And this is for sure something that Oh, I dragged it into the wrong one, by the way. And this is for sure something I need to figure out how I customize that, because I need to have more control over where, for instance, the player is loading, because we have, player locations that can be set up both in the maps I'm doing, but also in the mod maps eventually. So right now we can live with this, but this is at least something I need to go in and figure out how to manually do somehow. But yeah, tip of the iceberg.
Of games, you might want to leave this empty, or you might still want to assign it.
Sorry, by the way, that I missed the chat a little. I'm trying to focus on this to actually get some progress, but you can just chat along, and I will look over from time to time.
Just so it spawns a player prefab without any visual, just some game object to run the logic of the player without needing to have.
And that's also because he's very much going again. He's keeping it super simple. So he's like, as I remember, he's deleting that prefab from the scene. So there are no players by default, and then he let the network manager spawn the player, and we will do the same. But obviously, in this game, that doesn't really fly, because you have to be able to play as a single player too. So I have to have some kind of manager to keep track of if you are multiplayer or not, and then it needs to have the network manager do stuff or not if you're playing single player game. So another thing.
Important thing is, let's remove the player prefab over here from the scene. Player prefab should really be spawned dynamically when a player connects, so make sure it's not on the scene. Then next important thing is over here, unlist for network prefabs.
Yeah, I'm not trying
Basically,
to do that.
anything that we want to be spawned on the network must be in this list. Any object that is not on this list pretty much does not exist on the network. So over here, let's...
Okay, anyway.
Let's click on the plus icon and let's drag our player prefab.
Okay, so the player needs to be there.
So with this basic setup, we are ready to make a quick test. So let's just go ahead, hit on play.
Oops.
And when you do, you might also see this warning, pretty much telling you that this scene has not been added to the build list. You can add manually or just click on yes and it will add it automatically. So let's click on yes. Basically what that does is over here, if we go into file and build settings, over here we now see that this scene that we're working on, this one has been added over.
Hey, I'm Kayla, and I'm one of the AI voices for...
Anyway, so let's see what happens, just for the fun of it. Nah, I don't think it will be a special map essentials. Maybe, I don't know how I'm gonna solve that, but I think I will have some kind of... I have my own kind of manager that needs to figure out what to do, single player, multiplayer, and then do things appropriately. And that's also something I need to test out pretty early, actually, because I don't want to go too far down the multiplayer route and then figure out I can't get back to the single one. So I have to make stuff work both. I'm gonna uninstall all mods because I don't want to wait for this every time. But anyway, but we won't get to all of that in this stream for sure. But it's just because before somebody was asking why it takes so long. I have been going on for this now, like, what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops maybe. And already I have mentioned multiple things that I already can see will go wrong. And what I can see go wrong is very, 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 very little of what will go wrong. So, yeah, that's why it takes so long. Let me just quickly... Let me quickly just remove all mods here by renaming the mods folder so we don't have to wait for that every time. And let's try again quickly. Fireworks voice chat is actually also a service that Unity have. So if I get everything to work, I don't think the voice chat thing would be that hard to do. I say that now, I don't know. But yeah, voice chat in-game, proximity-wise, could be really fun. But again, it's not a must-have, because people will talk over Discord or stuff like that anyway. So, there are must-have things and you know, nice-to-have things. So, Now can play. Okay. Why is it crashing there? Yeah, the problem is that we have stuff that kind of... Okay, we might actually have to, instead of the town, have to go to and use the lab or some simple map, because as you might saw in the chat, you can't see the console down here, but there is... that's not there. Anyway, the problem is that there are some stuff in the scene that right now expects the player to be in the scene at the start, because that's how the game is made. So, and the player is not there right now. So obviously stuff like that is also something I have to work around. Let's see, can I do this at all? Set active scene, boom. Let's try this one, because this one doesn't... okay, this is not a part of it. Okay, what if we let's take flat map instead? No, stop. Yeah, as Amnesty said, that's also why voice thing is a nice to have feature, because people, as I have said many times, I expect this game to be let's take the flat map, by the way, to be something you play with friends. I don't think this game makes sense to play with strangers, really, because it's too easy to destroy the game for others. So kind of on purpose, because that's how the game works. But so I think it only makes sense to play with people you know. It doesn't have to be, in real life friends. It could also be just people from the community where you say, hey, should we play, or who will join my game here, or something like that. But it will be people that you somehow have a relationship outside of the game. So I don't think it makes sense to just join random servers. We could maybe do something so you can, but that's not the main goal. Yeah, let's try the flat map, and let's see if there are stuff in here that expects the player. But I actually think there are kind of a lot of things that expects the player to be there, and this is what is gonna be our biggest problem, really. Yeah, you can see it fails again here. See, unable to find player, something is wrong, blah blah blah. Yeah, player UI manager. Yeah, and this is why it's harder to do multiplayer in an already existing single player game, because I have a lot of stuff, as you can see, that expects the player to be there from the start. And yeah, I have to fix that before I can actually get to the multiplayer part. But let's see now the flat map here. Let's see if we can't. So what is failing here? Let's take one at a time. If I could do something so I could send a message or something when the player spawned. Okay, it's in the awake. This is the player UI. And then we had something in Blueprint Manager is also expecting the player to be there. No. Player camera. That's the UI tooltip. Jesus Christ. Maybe. Oh, and this is also, that's not. Why is this failing? Okay, so that's the UI and print. Blah, 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 blah. Could we for now? It's a long shot, I know. What if we disable this just for the fun of it? I don't know where the workshop is located. I don't know where they're hosting it. Okay, so just by removing the UI, we could get away with some of the errors, so that's good. But we still have a problem with this one, and that's actually a problem I have in the normal game too. I think I will have to make a message when player spawns. Okay, let's try and do that quickly here. So let's say if we have one of the simple messages here, let's do quickly. Hello. What the fuck? My keyboard. What? Hello. Keyboard, please work. Okay. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's locked. Why is it locked? It's because it's an internal. Okay. Stupid me. It's because it's in the core part. Okay. I'm an idiot. Let's see. So the only problem we have right now, at least as far as it looks, is that we don't have an audio listener for the master audio, and we have to have that. We could. Yeah. Okay. We'll do something. Where are the messages? I can't remember. Messenger events, yes. So I need some way to tell it that the player have been spawned. So we can just do. So let's do. So let's see here too. So let's do an internal class messenger event. Let's say player spawned. Just for now, just to get going. Oops. And let's say that we take in the player as a parameter, and then we do something like this. Okay. So, but we don't know when it's. Maybe we can. Okay, we could do a. Okay. That's not how we should do it, but maybe we can do it this way. So it was the master audio that complained. So what if we say fireworks? Oops, we can do like that, and then we can say messenger event player spawned. Oops. Again, I might change this 1,000 times, but so. Whoop. Get component in. Is it on the top level? Can't remember. Okay, the audio. No, that's the source, and the listener is on the camera down here. So, okay. Anyway, I told you it would be a hardcore live stream. So when the player spawns, and we will do that in not so great a manner, but right now I'll just put it in the player script. So when he's starting, he will spawn and then send himself in there. So we get the audio listener, and the reason the master audio manager needs the audio listener is because it uses that to calculate how delay a sound should be played, to have that realistic delay on the explosions and stuff like that. So anyway, so let's say, and again, I most likely gonna do a lot of stuff different. So okay, so let's go to the player. Just as a, and that won't be the wake method. Whoops. Let's see. Private void start method. Boom. And we already had that. So I'm not gonna do that there. And it's here. I'm not sure this will work, but let's see. Let's see. Broadcast, and then with a new messenger event player. Well, wasn't it there? Messenger event player spawn. Boom. And then we send in this, which is the player itself. And then we can maybe do some logic in some of the other ones that figure out if it's on the client or server, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's see. And yeah, let's see how it works. Told you it wasn't going to be easy. So how many people? 20 people it seems like. So why is this not okay? There's no camera, that's why it's not working. So that's fair enough. So if we go to it couldn't be the manager. Where is the network manager? Ah, okay, it's in here. So I think I can do. So the player is here. Why is it not updating the screen? So why is the camera disabled? Okay. And why can't I move? Let me check the player here. It's enabled. Why is it disabled by default? So the game starts fine, no errors. Doesn't mean it works, but no errors. And then I can say start host, which should spawn a player and I'll be the host. That's fine. And here I am. But why is it... Okay, there's also something with the... Where is the input manager? Is that in... Ah, it's here. Why is that also disabled? Okay, that's super weird. Why is it disabling these things? And the camera is disabled too? Okay. Ah, is that because... let's check the player script. No. Yeah, see here. It starts disabled and... Okay, I started out by... Ah, okay. Okay. and I do that because the players player. So scene node completed. That should enable it, but at that point the player is not there. Okay. Okay, that's because usually, that's because the player is right now always because the player is currently in the current version of the current version, the player is always in the map essentials scenes from the beginning. So and there is another camera showing the loading screen. So if the player camera is not disabled by its start, it will show up kind of on top of the loading screen or behind the loading screen. So that's why it starts out disabling the camera and the input manager, and then once the game is actually loaded, it enables it again and then moves the player to the spawn location. Okay, so we should actually we could move this. Okay, now it's gonna be great. We could move this logic to the no, we can't. Okay, for now we're gonna outcomment this stuff because it's gonna be done in a completely different way, both for single player and for multiplayer. And that's where the multiplayer thing have a big impact on how the single player game works too. Anyway, so let's see. Let's try again. Again, all I've done so far, I've added the network manager, and then I've spent like 20 minutes on just get the game running with that in place, you know. So this is fine enough because the game should kind of, you know, I need to start this would happen normally if you started the game, but I will just have to go into the network manager and manually start a host of the game. So that means the player here, perfect. Okay, so now it's not disabled by default, and I obviously can't open any menu or UI anything because I disabled that. So there's no tools, there's nothing. I can just run around, and that's what I'm saying. If we can get the two beans running around, that will be great. Okay, so this is a start. Okay, but we disable, yeah. First attempt at adding network manager plus logic to avoid errors. Is disabled. So I'm just checking in now where we are, because now we are another place, you know. We moved a tiny step forward now. I have the network manager, nothing is working, but we have the network manager. We can actually start the game, start a host via the button, and run around. The UI is not working, blah, 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 but we don't have any errors and you can run around. So that's one minor step, you know, in the right direction. So it's as small steps as this that you need to kind of people often talk about running, you know, out of motivation and stuff like that when doing games, because making a game, as you can see and hear and know, takes a very long time. So you have to keep the motivation and your energy and interest in the game for a very, very extended period of time. And the way, at least I have figured out to do that, is by having these small steps of success. So this was one little success that kind of in my brain, you know, rewards or is fueling the motivation to keep on to do the next little step, if that makes sense. If I only got motivated by a completely working multiplayer thing, I would, you know, stop in 2 hours and then never come back. So you need these kind of small steps to kind of, that small successes that fuel your motivation to do the next little step, if that makes sense. But you can, and that applies to not only game development, applies to basically everything you need to do or learn or whatever. So just a little tip. Anyway, so now we can spawn in here and flat mail, blah 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 blah. Well, let's get back to the video here and see what he is doing next. Okay, come on, where is it? There's it. Okay, let's see.
Okay, so let's hit on play. There it is, the game is running, and right now there is no player spawned. So right now there's no connection, nothing. And on the network manager we have some nice buttons. And by the way, if you don't see the network manager, you might notice that it's not over here on the scene anymore. That is because, like I said, the network manager, there's only one component that exists. And when that component starts, it pretty much adds itself over here on the don't destroy unload. So over here is the object, let's select it. And then here we have these buttons, so start host, server, or client. Now these three types are extremely important to fully understand. A lot of the logic that we're going to build depends on understanding which is which. First of all, the server is just a server, so it has no player. Then for the client, that is just a simple player connecting to a server. And the host acts as both a server and a client. So if you wanted to make your game use a dedicated server architecture, for that one you would create just a server.
Yeah, and that's what my aim for this game is, that one player will host the game. There will be some magic relay in between, so you can actually connect easily to each other, and then others join that. So in a friends group or whatever who you're playing with, it obviously makes sense to have the one with the strongest machine be a host. Just as in the old days when we were playing multiplayer game where you were self-hosting that multiplayer game.
The clients. But if you don't want to use dedicated servers, then you make just one player be the host, and all of the other players will be regular clients.
And that's what we want to do.
Here for our test, we want to create the server, but I also want to play as a player, so let's use it as a host. So let's click on it. And if there it is, as you can see, it spawned the player prefab. And we can see here that we are currently running as a host. So basically what happened is we created the server and then automatically created the player which joined that server all in the same window. Okay, great. So far so good. Now using these inspector buttons isn't very useful. If we make a build, we won't be able to see the inspector. So let's make some proper UI buttons just for testing. So over here on the hierarchy, I already have my basic canvas.
Yeah, so now he's adding buttons to join and host and all that. But I think I will do it a little differently, because I'm not gonna add these buttons in here because building my game and getting in here and all that will change too much. I don't want to do that. So this is where this parallel sync comes in, is my guess. So let's set that up now so I can have another version of Unity running in this side of the screen and the other one here, and then join in to each other. So we can get to the next step of having, synchronizing the location of the players. And that's another very important step. It's important to get kind of a workflow set up that is pretty, I can imagine at least already it is, but making multiplayer, it's, I guess, it's even more important to get a workflow up and running that is easy and fast to do. So you don't waste a lot of time waiting on building clients, blah, blah, blah. He can do it in his sample because he has a very, very small game. But as the game grows and stuff like that, it takes too long to build it every time you need to test something. So it seems like I can get it from here. So let's see. I had never tried this before, but I added a NuGet package before via a Git link here. So let's add that. So let's see. So it's installing. Okay, I might be on a too new version, but let's hope it's not a problem. Anyway. Okay. So now it's installed. So now we should have a parallel sync up here. Yep, we have. So to install, simply download the package. We have done that. To update, delete the parallel sync folder from the assets root folder and import the latest package. We don't want to need to do that now. All the old files, blah, 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 blah. Okay, check for updates. That's not how we set it up. Okay, we will just test it out. So let's see. Preferences. I don't know. Anyway, GitHub, no, check for updates. Okay, clone manager. So we create a new clone. So where does it create that clone? I would like to have picked a location, to be honest. Yeah, Gunako, the clone thing. The thing is, when you're doing multiplayer, you need to at least have 2 clients, you know, to test it out. So this parallel sync is just a tool that can clone your project and keep it in sync with the project you're working on, and then have another version of Unity running next to it. So instead of building the game, I can just click play in one Unity and then click play in the other Unity, and they will have the same code. So it's just a way to make it easier to test stuff like that. And I can see the location here. So it's inside. But I wanna change where it's located. I don't wanna add a new clone. No. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, that's not what I want to do. Open in new editor. Okay, so I shouldn't have checked that. So I would just like it to not be in there. So delete that one. Yes. Let me check something. So this has nothing to do with multiplayer, really, to do. It's just a way to easier test stuff. Okay. Yeah, okay. So it's located here. That's just how it is. Open a new editor. We will do that in a moment, but what I will show before that is that now, and this is a little Unity trick, no, not Unity, a Git trick, or how to handle this. The thing is that I don't want this, because this is all my changes. So now it looks like I want to check in this entire clone into the repository. I don't want to do that. So what I can do is that I can, and why don't I have a ignore file in here? Okay. So what I want to do is I want to take this ignore file out here, and I want to open that in this one, and I want to keep that very simple. So let's just ignore. We can say ignore clones. So I think we can do, let's do like, nope, no. Yep, fine. So we can say clone. So we can say this one. So I think if I do like that, yep, you can see over here now it doesn't see all these clones here. So by having this git ignore here, I removed all the clones from the repository, and you don't care at all, but it's very important, really. Now you know. So we don't want to have that in here. We just want to have added parallel sync. Boom. Okay, so now we can open a new editor, I assume. So now it should open the project in a new editor that we can have on the left side of the screen. It's going pretty well so far, I would say. Well, let's see how it shows up here in a moment. But yeah. Yeah, so I added the folder to git ignore because we obviously don't want to check in the clone, because it's just a copy or clone of whatever I have, so it doesn't matter. And now I think it's actually it's generating the library folder in the clone folder, the library folder in the clone version. Because I guess it is a full Unity project that is there, and this parallel sync, all it's doing is that it makes sure that everything I change in the actual version of Unity is then replicated to the clone, so when I hit play, it's the same code, really, that is running. But let's see. Okay. Interesting. Boom. So let's remove that. It even remembers. It doesn't remember that. We don't want to have that. But it remembered what stuff I had open and all. Interesting. So okay, now this is gonna be interesting. So let's start this one over here. I never tried this before. Really exciting times. So now we start the normal version, then we start the clone version, and then we need to find a network manager. Okay, so we have over here, and we start a host. Don't expect the beans to be running around, because there will be more problems. Just wait. Without me having tried it before, I just know, because I can foresee what's going to be wrong here. So now we can go to the client here, and we can show something. So we go here, and then we start client. So let's take a look here. We actually do have 2 players now. We have the 2 beans. Boom, but yeah, you see here. So we actually have the beans here. But the reason that, first of all, I don't know what's going on here. That's some outline stuff. That's not good. The reason it looks weird here is because of that camera thing I talked about previously. Because both these players have a camera. So I don't know which one is which, but for this one, the host, the camera of the client shouldn't be visible, and for the client, the host camera shouldn't be visible. So if I go over here, whoop, 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 and we can, okay, damn it. And we should see a bean. We have a bean. Boom. But as you also can see, we don't see the other bean. Because we are not synchronizing any locations or anything. And I also think there is some issue with the input. But anyway, so, okay. So that thing with the camera is something that we need to fix. So yeah, just release, doom, poof, out now, poof, done. Continue. No, we have an issue with something here. Some outline animator. We could also go in. So let's go to the prefabs, the player. Again, as I said, I knew this was gonna require a complete re-ramp of the player here. So we need to disable this outline thing, so we can't outload anything. Also the audio listener. So I think what we need to do is that but we get to that actually in the next step of the video here, I think. So now the parallel thing is actually working, and that's working really well. So let's see what he's doing here.
Let's create an empty game object. Call this the Network Manager UI. Let's put
so he's adding the buttons so he can start a game, because he's actually doing a build of the game and using that as a client and the Unity as the server. But we are not doing that, so we don't need these buttons in game right now, because we want to keep it simple. And it's not as easy for me to do what he's doing here, because I have a much bigger game already running. So let's skip that part. We don't want to see that, blah 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 blah. And then he can build, and he can, and he also installs the console. As you can see here, we already have that in the game, and we actually also have the console in Unity, so we don't need. We have the console, actually the same quantum console as he's using, but we also have the console in Unity, so we don't need that either. And it's just because, as you can see here, it's easier. It's easier to see stuff here in his client, because he don't have the console, as he's not running with this parallel sync. Anyway, he's showing the player log, blah blah blah. Then we have an IKEA commercial, which is exactly what we wanted at this point. The world is so small. Working one day less, and working one day more on Fireworks Mania. Good question, Mart. I can't with my current, as my current job is right now. I work for a client too, and they are kind of require me full time. So I can't do that. But so it's not an option right now to work one day less. So now he's making some, but good question. So now he's making logic to make the player move around. We already have that, but with we will get into that because that's also a problem. Okay, so let's see.
One very important thing is over here, instead of extending mono behavior,
yes, now it comes.
This out and let's extend the network behavior. And this one is as well inside unity.netcode. So this class, network behavior, this one is an extension of mono behavior with some extra things that are related to multiplayer. So you've got a bunch of virtual functions that you can override, a bunch of interesting things, and over here a bunch of very useful properties. We've got these three right here. So is server, is client, and is host. This is very useful to check which type owns this object. And an even more important one is over here. This one is owner. This one won't be.
Now we have another thing, and that is that we are running with I'm using assembly definitions, so I can't access that unless I add netcode. Please let me. There's a netcode. Okay, there is a runtime. Yes, cool. Okay, so I think that was me. And I guess the components too, maybe. Oops. So yeah, this is just This is just because I'm using assembly definitions. Don't want to get into that. Doesn't matter. I think it should work if I do like this. And then I can get in here, and then I should be able to do exactly like that. Boom, and then we can follow along again.
Be true only for the player object that this player owns. So we can use this to make sure our script only runs on the owner and does not run on the other prefabs. So back in our script over here on our update, before we do anything, let's just do a simple if, and we check is owner. And if this one is not true, so if we are not the owner of this object, then let's just return. So we're not going to run any code if this script is not attached to this owner. So
we can use this is owner to see if we are the actual owner of this player, meaning that we are so let's say here, so we can not sure we need this actually. We can blah blah blah. That's not important right now. Let's just do it. So we can say here, because if we are not the owner, so if we are not is owner, I guess we can do as he is doing and then just return, meaning we won't do this, because if we do the same as before and we start out by having the camera being disabled and the input manager being disabled, again I might do this in another way later on, but now to get it working, so we start out the player by disabling the camera and disabling the input manager for the player, and then when the player starts, actually we check if it's the owner, and if we are not the owner of the player, if we are not the owner, we don't do these things, meaning we don't enable the camera and don't enable the input manager. So I think this should work for now. So I don't have to do that. Before you saw I had to disable, the camera. So let's see. First of all, this build, let's see what he's doing.
The only one that is going to run this logic down here is just the owner. All the other connected players that also
and he have the moving part, the move stuff, and he doing in the update, but we don't have to do that, I think, because we're disabling the input manager, but that's another wheel.
Alright, so here I have this host and this client, so now let's select the host, and now let's try moving, and yep, it does work. I can only...
Yes, okay, so let's do the same as he is doing, but as you can also see in his, the other player is not moving, but we get to that in a bit. No, I'm not watching myself, Ricky. I'm watching a tutorial of another guy telling me how to make it work. So no, I'm not watching. That would be weird, watching my own tutorial. But I have actually done that because I can't remember how to do stuff sometimes, and then I have to rewatch some of the stuff. Anyway, so let's start a host. We can move around. We have camera already. Everything is fine. Oops, that. And then we go to this one over here, the client, and say start client. Boom. And then we have a problem. We only have one outlet camera. But please stop being stupid. So why is this not working? So it partly worked. Let's do... Yeah, actually we can just have the console here. But didn't we just disable that? Is there more maybe? Ah, outline camera. Ah, okay. Okay. So let's see here. There is something with the outline camera. So we have this one. It's not. So could we maybe just remove it maybe? Oh, actually remove this. I don't know. Let's see. At least it's crashing on the client. Not the clone, but when the client joins, something is going nuts. Yeah, Gronako, if you find the enable multiplayer button, let me know. I've looked in all the menus, can't find it. So let's start a host again. The host is here. He's all good and ready and happy. Boom, 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 waiting for people to join. Come on, boys, he's saying. We can do so. Let's go over here and we say join client, and we have the same problem. You can only have one outline camera in scene. Yeah, that's fine. Why are you adding it then? Please don't do that. Who is doing that? Where is that outline camera? Oh, that's the start of the 1.5 years game development. So in the beginning of 2018 to 19, my son asked me to blah blah blah, something like that. Why is it complaining about that? Oh, we don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Don't want to open another Visual Studio for clone here. So one thing is that this one remove that blah 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 change room, that doesn't matter. This one is the problem. You can only have one outline camera in the scene, yes, but oh, damn it. The reason I don't want to have another Visual Studio open is because then I think I will confuse myself and maybe make changes in the clone part, and I'm not sure it's cloning it back. So outline effect 126. Boom. But it's not. I haven't, you know. I have disabled it, but still it's. So that awake, anybody remember if awake is called on a component that is disabled? It seems like it is. Because as you can see here on the, we can stop it here. But as you can see on the player, I don't have that camera anymore, and I have actually removed I have disabled the outline effect here. But I could also remove them, but I'd rather not, to be honest. Maybe I should have taken a copy of the player. Let's do a player. This is not the way to do it, but let's do it. Anyway, let's try to continue by removing this. I'm not sure it have an effect, but let's try it. So remove these outline things. Then we need to add it back at some point. Yeah, wake is called even if it's disabled, yeah. We could also, on the player, I could also actually, let me, I can't do that. So really, if I'm not, no, I need some of these things. Because I could completely destroy some of these game objects here if I'm not the actual player. But anyway, I will have to figure out how to solve that in another way. Oh, so now we get another problem. Outline effect. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just say it's fine. We continue anyway, but we can't because, oh, damn it. Yeah. And this is where and we will run into, we won't run into problems right now. Let's do it like that. I'm just doing stuff quickly now to continue. And what the good thing about this is that doing stuff like this makes it clear where your code is too tightly coupled. So it becomes pretty obvious where I'm using stuff that I might not, shouldn't be so dependent on. Because for instance, now you can see the player can't even work without having an outline component. And this outline thing is really just a visual thing. You should still be able to run around, right? So doing stuff like this is actually something that helps and forces me to rethink how I structure things and then change it accordingly. Yeah. That's also why it takes so long to make a game. I know I said it one time. But new players are joining, so I'm keep saying that. And it don't care. It just continues with that. Why the... Oh, but that's... Okay. Pretty sure it's because... Yeah, so that error is fine, but missing, that's fine. So that was the... Yes. So why is it called... Oh, it's on the object highlighter. That was on the object highlighter. Okay, it's because we have this other script called Project Highlighter, and that's actually the one that should, and that's part of the tool manager, I think. Common, yes, this one. So I need to remove that too. I have to redo the entire game. Jesus Christ. I really hope you sell the game to your friends or convince them to buy it, because this is gonna be, I'm gonna have to redo a lot of stuff. But wait, don't get them to invest in the game until we actually have it working. As I also write in the... What? Oh, what Satan. Okay, that object highlighter is really... Just a second. Okay, back again. Boom. And now with some cola. In cola. Okay. I just got another idea. Should I take the SMR too? Should I? Just a tiny bit. Maybe. Anyway, I just got another idea. Let me see here. Let me take prefab highlighter. I think I have another way of. I have another idea how to fix. I'm just rolling some stuff back here in my Git thingy. I have another idea. I just rolled back the player, so the player should now have the outline and all that again. I think I will go into this highlighter and then just basically. Okay, stop. No, stop. And then find the object highlighter, and then I will just remove the code. I think. Yeah, okay, we'll figure out if somebody's using this. I guess, maybe. So instead of removing the component from all, because I could see it was used many places, I think it's easier for now just to... We can't do that. Start already. Okay, so we just need to... All the public methods, let them be there. And then let's uncomment them. So that it can build, but it doesn't do anything. I have to redo this anyway. Start. So like that. So now I guess it should build, but it shouldn't complain. Of course, the outline won't work, but that's not important right now. All we need now is beans to run around. Let the beans run around. Boom. And maybe, so we still have that outline issue. That is still... And it's in the awake. Then we still have that awake thing. So let's just try something. Just a second. Yes, so let me, if some people have joined, I'm starting on multiplayer today. We might have if it goes well, it will be working in 1 to 2 years, I guess. If it's done before that, you will know, I will let you know, but it takes a long time. Because it's complicated, and also because I want it to be as good as I can. I would really not like to put something out that works really bad. So if it doesn't work good enough, I won't publish it. But anyway, so yeah, 1 to 2 years time horizon. I just started today, like 1 hour ago. So there's a long way to go. But, and as Keltos are also saying, as I'm trying to say, it's done when it's done. So let's see. But it will be a long time. Okay, so start host. Boom, you start the host, and then we go over here. Now I'm expecting we get this outline, cake, whatever script problem. Something is moving. It's my hand. It's not a doll, it's a mirror. And if you see something else moving, it's the dog. You can see him right there. But you see him in the mirror. You because he's actually here. So that tricks you. But I don't know, maybe my kid was in waving his arm. But it was the kid here before, but you couldn't see him. But no, it's just the dog. He's right there. But you can't see him because I'm kind of in the way right now. I don't know if we move. Anyway, let's get back here. So let's try here and let's start a client. And then we have all the good errors going. Okay, so that's this cake slice thingy. And we can't do anything about that because... Oh, yes, we can. Okay, we can disable the animation thing. We can disable. So let's go back into the prefab player. And let's see, where is that? So we can disable these, and then we will most likely run into the same problem as before. But again, I reverted the player a minute ago, or a while ago, and that's why this is back, because I wanted to redo it. So I reverted the change to the player, and then went in and removed the code from this object highlighter, because I think that's a better way of solving it, because then I'm not missing the reference. Because that's a thing I hate with Unity. References are so hard to figure out in Unity. Where in code it's easy because you can do references and then find it. Anyway. So let's see. We most likely get something like the same again. Let's see. So now we're back at this one outline thing. One thing that is weird, why does this one over here work? Why can't we get into this player? Are we... okay. So the player that was already... No, it's out. So why is the input manager completely gone at the... That's because there can only be one. Okay. Yes, okay. Let's see here. Yeah, we can run around here, but you won't see him over to the left. Because his position is not being tracked right now, but we get to that part. Okay, so we can actually... I can live with this effect thing. We disabled the... We could do this, that was fine. We still get an error, that's no problem. But there is a problem with that input manager. And the problem with that is that there can be... Okay, I can do a quick fix. It won't be pretty, but it's a quick fix. The thing is that the input manager is a singleton. So if I disable it if the hosts player have disabled it on the client, if the client if the client disables the host player's input manager, he's basically disabling his own input manager. Yeah, okay. And that's a problem. But yeah, this yeah, again, I have to redo a lot of this. So let's just enable the implement manager anyway. But it's inside the player. It's terrible. And when you're watching this, Rob Lang, on demand, you will just say, now Mania, fix your stuff. Too spaghetti. I know. I'm doing what I can. I'm refactoring. Yeah, Antelon, it's I think it's almost finished, he's saying. I think too. Like 5 minutes. So start host, run around, boom. Then we go to client, we can down. Okay, perfect. So it's a very hacky way of doing it, but it works. So basically what we have now is that we have the game can now join each other and spawn the other player on the client and on the server. So that's basically working. You can't see it moving around now because it's not synchronizing the positions, but we get to that in a moment. So that will be very, very interesting. Let me just check in what I've done so far. And that backup player, do we really need that? Yeah, let's just do that. We can get a dab on that one. Boom. I'm almost 40, but I'm allowed to do dab. I guess dab is a boomer thing anyway now, so it's okay. Okay. Added logic to disable, enable client host specific components issue with input manager being part of the first player prefab. Yeah, I have to redo a lot of that, but it's no problem redoing and refactoring. I'm actually doing that a lot. It might sound like a bad thing, but really it's a very good thing. And refactoring your code is what makes the game kind of possible for me to keep extending it and working on it. And that's also why I said it many times before, where I'm kind of quiet on the updates of the game on Steam and stuff like that. But that's sometimes because I need to go back and redo some stuff to make the foundation better to build upon. And going from single player to multiplayer is kind of, yeah, I have to change a lot to make that work. But it will most likely, of course, it will make it much more complex, but it will also simplify some things, because as I said before, it makes it easier to see where I have two coupled code and some code that shouldn't be depending on some other stuff. And I think it will be better when I'm done. But of course, it's a lot of work to make it work. Oh, we have a super chat from MC Fedev, which I can't say, but he's one of the old guys. Not old, but he's been here for a while. I don't know if it will show up on the stream. It's not so common I get these, but thank you very much. I can't see if you put a message on it. I can just see two errors. Not errors, euros. But the chat, as you can also see here in the corner, is kind of delayed. It says so it actually says there. But it should come up with kind of a, it usually comes up with a, just like when somebody is joining and something subscribing and following. Let me check if I can. There it goes, and you can see the new fireworks thing I added. No, that's not that one. Yo, that's it. Didn't I change that? Oh, now I didn't even see if there was a message. Sorry. No, just donate it. Boom. Did you put on a... I haven't sent any message. Okay, so that's why there isn't a message. I just think now I get a little interested here because I think I changed the look of one of these. Let me just check something. So this was MC. This was a super chat, right? Or super chat? No, this was a super thanks super chat. Let me see here. Recent events. What can I see? Okay, super chat. It says I can redo it here. So now it should. Yeah. Okay. Donated €2 through super chat. Okay. Super chat. Let me just see something. Pretty sure I changed. So that was super chat. Was it member? No, that's not. Donation? No, that's not it. I'm just testing now. So that's the... Okay. Super thanks and super chat. No, I think the thanks is something you can give also, you know, when I'm offline stuff like, and super chat is a live stream thing, right? I don't know. I'm not. Thank you anyway, MC. But I'm not. I don't know how that works. Anyway, getting back. So I just checked the changes in. That's fine. Blah 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 blah. Now we need to get back to the video because now, as you can see, that the beans are not actually moving. Only the beans that we are actually moving. And he have the same problem here. And as we will see here,
move the object that I actually own. Alright, so that's great, that solves the first problem that we saw. However, we can also see another issue, and like this, we can see that the movement is not being synchronized. So over here, I'm moving the player over here on the host, but over here on the client, it is not receiving any position. So the movement is not being synchronized. We're moving the player object, but only locally, we're not actually sending the new position anywhere else. So for that, let's go inside our player prefab, and over here on the prefab, let's add a component. Let's once again go inside netcode, and this time we want to add the component network transform. This is going to help us synchronize all the values from the transform. However, in multiplayer, bandwidth is an extremely important thing. You really don't want to be sending any unnecessary data. So over here you've got a bunch of really useful checkboxes to define what data you actually want to synchronize. We do not want to send any data that will never change. So in this case, for this demo, we are only moving, so there's no need to send any scale data. And again, on this super simple demo, we also do not have any rotation. We're just moving a simple capsule, so let's also not send the rotation.
So in my case, I don't need the scale. For now at least, I don't need the scale. So I can remove that. And you could argue that the rotation is not important because it's the bean, you can't see if it's turned anyway. But eventually I will need the rotation, at least in the y-axis, I think. Yeah, y. It must be y. So we can maybe do... I'm not 100% sure, but I think we can do something like that because it will not rotate that way. Yeah. So I think that, and this is one place to make sure that you don't send too much information over the net to make it fast.
And finally, we also
the beam will change at some point,
demo, so
let's make it work first.
The only thing we're going to send is the position X and Z. That's it.
He's only sending that. We need to send a little more.
Go back. Let's make a build to test. So here I have...
Okay, and we don't have to make a build to test because we have this awesome thingy set up here where we can just do like this. Boom. This parallel sync really works well. It's really nice. We can maybe also... Actually, over here on the client thing, we could maybe... Nah, I can't. Nah. No, I have to... Yeah, okay. I know the window is a little small, but... yeah. I have to get to these things here. So we get network manager, we do a start host, so he's here. Come on. So now if this works, this is the moment we will see the beans moving around. We can go over here actually and we can Can I do? Why can't I do that? Ah, that's balls. We don't want to do that because then we can't. Okay. Let's do it for now. Go over here, manager, start client. Okay, I can't move, and I think I know why. But let's try the other way around. Let's try and be the host. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, let's see if we can see it moving. What? Boom! Boom! Shakalaka! Okay, what's going on here? I'm controlling the one to the right. This one over here. That's the server. And I look at the player here, which we are seeing from the camera over to the left. And you can see I'm moving around here. Whoa, whoa. Maybe we should extend our... Beans are moving. Yes. Thank you, Guanaco. This is nice. Let's to make it... Okay. Now it's gonna be crazy. I also know why it's not working, the other thing. Let's just make it 12 o'clock so we have a little more light. So it's easier to see. And we don't want to do that. Oops, something like that. And we need to... Why is it not synchronizing? Come on. Hello. Let's just try again. I know why it's not moving. It's because it's not allowed to move. Yeah, 1 minute YouTube. How it's gonna move with mods, fireworks, mods, and all that. I don't know yet. I just got a bean moving, so give me a break. So let's just try again here. Maximize. Boom. We have this one. Why is this not synchronized? Me not like it's not day over there. Fine. And you can I'm pressing the buttons, but you can see he's kind of moving a little, but he's not actually moving. And the reason he's not moving is because here we go again. So why is it not? The reason he's not moving is because he's not allowed to move, because he's the client, and right now by default it's not. The client is not allowed to move. Why is it not syncing the EnviroSky stuff? Please do so. I changed it. Hello. It should. What if we let's try and no, you haven't said. Okay, let's just do like this for now. Anyway, so he have the same problem as in his video, I'm pretty sure. So let's see how it fixes it. I kind of know, but let's see.
So it moves over here locally and over here on the client.
No, time is not synced at all, Gonako. At all. That needs to happen too, like many other things. But right now I was surprised that it didn't update, because this parallel sync should make this update, because it was something I did, in the project. It was not a change in the running game. So that was a little weird, but let's see.
So receiving the new transform position. Okay, great. So everything is indeed working. The client is receiving the synchronized transform position. However, with this, we also see another extremely important detail. It works over here if I move this one, which is the host. However, if I jump over here onto the client, if I now try moving this one, And nope, nothing happens. It does not even move locally. I'm pressing the buttons, but this local object is not...
That's exactly what I'm...
So basically what is going on is, like I mentioned, by default, netcode for game objects is server authoritative, meaning that the server is the only one with power to change the current state. So the reason why the client is not moving is because when I press the button, it actually does try to move, but the client does not have ownership. So the data that the client has here, when I move it, it does not change, it does not send anything back to the server. So instead, the client is constantly receiving the position from the server, and the server, it never moves. So over here, as I try to move, it tries moving it locally, then receives the packet from the server and resets it back into 0, 0.
Yeah.
So this
so
is
the client cannot move because he's not allowed to move.
Netcode architecture and what you want to use. If you're making a hyper-competitive game, then the basic rule is you should never trust the client. However, if you're doing something casual and co-op, then perhaps it can be okay to trust the client. Depending on which approach you take, you have...
Yeah, and that's another thing. This is never gonna be a really competitive game. It's not gonna be Counter-Strike-like or any other competitive game like. So, and again, as I said, you will be playing with friends or people you know. So I'm not so afraid of people cheating or, using some fly modes that the other ones doesn't have or whatever, because it will always just be for fun. There will be no competition in this game. So therefore, and that most likely, hopefully, makes some stuff easier for me because I can trust the client. And the reason that is important is that then I don't have to, in games like Counter-Strike and other stuff where you really don't want cheaters and stuff like that, what you do is that the server, again, I don't only know, the theory in this, but most competitive games, the server need to authorize all actions. So if a player say, I want to move forward now, the server have to kind of approve that move, because yes, you can move because you are not dead, you are not on your way into a wall and stuff like that. So the server needs to authorize all, and I can only assume that sends a lot more traffic back and forth, and it's also putting more pressure on the server, I would expect. And as we in this game need to have one of the players being the server, we don't want to put too much pressure on this machine. We don't want to send too much data just to make sure that the clients are behaving correctly. We rather want to save that bandwidth and power to what I assume will be the biggest challenge really here, and that is to keep everything in sync when you are firing off fireworks and potentially blowing up stuff. I actually don't know how I want to do. I can't do that yet, but that's my idea at least. That we can trust the clients and use bandwidth and extra power or whatever for all the physics synchronization, because that's a much bigger challenge, I think. Anyway,
several options here.
Let's see how we solve this.
If you do not want to trust the client, then you need basically to have the client tell the server, hey, I would like to move in a certain direction, and then the server moves the client and sends the new position back. We're going to see how to talk to the server with an RPC in a little bit. But if you're making a casual co-op game and you're okay with trusting the client...
By the way, the coffee talk and €4. So in Denmark, a cup of coffee, if you go to, not when I'm making myself, of course, but it costs like, it depends, of course, but one cup of latte cafe that I drink, it will be like, what is that? Like maybe 30 to 40 Danish crowns, and that's like that's like 4 or 5 euros. So really it's only and the 4 euros there is without taxes. So, and the tax is very high in Denmark. So for these four, and Unity is also taking a cut. YouTube is also taking a cut. I don't know how much, but anyway, so with YouTube cuts and taxes, you can cut it in half. So I will get like 2 euros, meaning I can buy half a cafe latte for the money. So Denmark is expensive. Yes, Kaltusar. Germany, Sweden is very, very cheap. And not in a bad way, but for us Danes coming to Germany and Sweden, it's just like, yeah, give me that, you do. Why is Denmark so expensive? I think because we are generally, globally, a rich country, meaning everything is just more expensive, I guess. And also because we have very, very high taxes, because we are paid to go to school. We don't pay anything for doctor, hospital, roads, a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff in Denmark that is just free for everybody. Yes, when you are in the small classes, like from 1 to like 10th grade, the normal school thing, you don't get paid. But when you get to the education after that, you get money from the government every month, and depending on your parents' income, you get more or less. And if you are staying home or if you have your own place to stay, you also get more. If you are staying on your own, if you live with your parents, you get less. So yeah, in Denmark you are paid to. There are very, very few educations that you have to pay something yourself. I think maybe pilot you have to actually do something yourself. But of course you have to buy books and you have to do stuff. But you're not paying for the education. You are getting paid to take the education, really. And yeah, as Lucas said, if you have a job besides school and there is a limit to how much you can earn in that and still get SU, as it's called, this money from the government. Okay, we're getting totally derailed from what we were actually talking about here. I wanted just to say that thank you for the 5 euros, and it's not like I don't appreciate it. Of course I do. It's just like I can't get 10 cups of coffee for it. Anyway, so
there's a much simpler approach. Over here on the docs, if we go into the network transform page,
exactly, look at
scroll all the way down.
I have always actually, when I was under education, I always had a job on the side in the weekends and on evenings, but I was under the limit of what I think you can. Back then, I think it was like 10,000 euros you were about to earn a year until you got a cut in the SU. But don't you agree, Luca? Isn't it correct? Like a cafe latte, at least here in Copenhagen, I don't know where you live, but a cafe latte can easily be 30 to 40 and 45 maybe Danish crowns without problem. The cheap one at McDonald's, I think, is like 28 or something like that. Anyway,
we see something called the client network transform.
Yes, client net.
The same as a regular network transform, except instead of just having ownership on the server, you have ownership on the client itself.
Wait, so we need to get back to that client thing, and the client cannot move right now because he is not allowed to. So we need to say that he should be. Okay. Come on. So we are actually already, we reached the goal. We had the beans were running around. At least one of the beans were running around. We have to have the other bean run around too. And I think we will also put some glasses just so we can see if the rotation works too. So it gets to the Danny bean look just for now. But there's some other chances with that. Anyway, what is he doing?
Loading and installing.
Okay, let's see.
Copy paste this URL. So let's copy this URL. Then over here in the edit.
So it's the netcode. Don't you have a link for that?
If we go into the network transform page and we scroll all the way down, here we see something called a client network transform.
Let's see here. Client network transform. Yeah, transform. Let's see if we get to the same as he was. Yes, here we go. Okay, let's see if something changed here. Always synchronize position from the server to the clients, and position change are not allowed. Netcode for Gamedev come with a sample containing client. This transforms the position. You can use the existing multiple sample unity package. So instead of, I could also roll my own. Network transform. It's a component. We could also just do that, but I'm just thinking that there might be more in the samples than I wanna use in the future. Yeah, let's do that. So let's add this one. We take the sample one. I could imagine, again, you have to be careful what you add like that, but there could be other stuff in here that could be useful in the future. I could also just do, but it's just like, I just have a feeling that I will need more of this stuff. I don't know. Come on. Do you use Steam multiplayer? I'm actually planning not to. I'm planning on using Unity's own relay service and lobby service. As I want to marry as little as I can to Steam, to be honest. Because if I do too much on Steam, it will be hard to take the game anywhere else. Let's say I want to sell it on Epic Games. Let's say I want to move it to PlayStation and Xbox at some point, maybe. Something like that. If I'm too married to Steam, it's not good. But as he also said in the beginning of this video, the transport layer of NetUI, netcode for game objects, as I understand it, allows to use the Steam thing. So if I can get everything to work with the netcode stuff, it might be easy to make some logic so that on Steam I can use the Steam thing, but then still have the option to use some other transport. What is it called? Transports. What is it called? Anyway, the other ones. When not on Steam, or if you wanna join somebody else. Anyway, I don't know. I have an idea, but again, I don't know. Let me get the beans running first. So we have the multiplayer sample here. Let's just go with that for now. That's fine. So we can go. Let's see here. So what is he doing here?
This is basically the same as a regular network transform, except
and it's
there it is. It's
allowed
on the multiplayer samples utilities. So on this one, let's go back into our player prefab, and here we are inside, and let's get rid of the network transform. Instead, let's add a component, and let's search for client network transform. Yep, here it is. Let's add it. And this one, as you can see, has the exact same properties. So let's do the same thing. So do not want to send any of these. Okay, just like this. And by the way, if you want to see the difference that makes this one have ownership as opposed to the other one, you can just right click on this one and go into edit script. This one opens up the script that we downloaded from the samples. And as you can see, this one just extends the network transform. And all it does is really just overrides this. So is server authoritative and makes it false. So if you want, you can just copy paste this code. You don't need to install the entire samples. Okay, so this is really all we need to do. Just make sure we swap out the network transform for a client network transform. So let's exit the prefab, make sure we save the changes. Okay, let's make another build. Okay, here we are. Let's make this one a host, make this one a client. Let's move the host, and yep, it still works the same as previously. Now if I go into the client and I move this one, and yep, there you go, this one does work. So
okay, so to be able to see the rotation also now, because now I think actually it works. But just to make it a little more fun here, let's put a hat on this guy so we can see. And now you would say, why don't you give him these black glasses as Danny is doing in his videos, in his beans. And the reason is that it goes in front of the camera, and I have to do some stuff to make that not happen. So I'll do something else here. Can we do something like this maybe, and then it's just so we can see the rotation, because right now he's not. Okay, that's a weird hat. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's just do something like that, and let's pick some material. What do we have to choose from? Debugging thing? Nope. Let's see, what can we take? What can we use? What can we use? Wood. Should we give him a wood helmet? A red helmet? Red wood? It doesn't really. A green one. Yellow. Destroyed thing. We can give him. Let's give him a green hat on. It's a good color here. So now we should be able to see him move around. Again, he's not gonna wear a hat. It's just a little prop thing, just so we can see the difference. So let's see here. Boom, like that. Boom, over here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's try it out. Exciting. I didn't have a cat, so I couldn't put a cat on his head. Creepy eyes. So let's see here. So network, let's say start a host. So you can see here, this is why I okay, we might want to do something with that hat thing, but not good. So we go here. Let me also, no, I can't do that. So let's start a client. Boom. What? In scene. Game object global cannot find its relative. Okay. I have. Let's check the player here, because I have a feeling that we might be out of sync with the game. Prefabs. Let's see if our player here have that. Oh, okay, he have the hat. So the hat is synced. Again, the hat is only so we can see, you know, the turning, the rotation. Doesn't really matter. I just thought it would be fun. But now we have another problem. Apparently. Let's get the beans rolling. Come on, come on. No, but it should be the same code, Guanaco. So, but it could be something like that. But I don't think so. Why is it taking so long now? Come on. Okay. I don't know what's going on now. Why is it so slow? Anyway, we have the bean. Okay, here we go. So network manager and client. Okay. It's not working. I think it's the could it be that we installed that other package? Let me check something. So we have, yeah, we see here the client transform is missing. Okay, that's why. It's because let's just check it. It's because the package is not, the sample one here is not installed, or at least not picked up here. What if we do something like that? It's also a little unfair to install the package, but the package is installed locally in the real version of the game, and that is apparently not transferred to no, still not working. Compile errors. What? Infinite loop. Blah 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 blah. Okay, let's do something here. Or maybe we need to. Okay, let's do something else. Let's try and delete this clone and create a new clone. Little annoying, but it might be fair that it cannot, you know, synchronize packages and stuff like that. I was actually expecting it to it, but in the day-to-day testing thing, when I'm testing stuff, I'm not installing new packages or doing stuff like that. It's most likely code and components put on stuff, blah 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 blah. So with that in mind, I think it's fair enough that it didn't work like that. Let's see if it works now. But it was clearly because the new client transform that I added to the player wasn't in the cloned version, so therefore it didn't work. It wasn't the head. But I think that it or maybe the parallel sync stopped working when I changed the enviros guy. At least that's where I saw it, because that should also have updated, even though it's not, you know, the weather and time is not synced in the game, but it's but in the project itself it should be changed and thereby synced by parallel sync. Again, it's very important to note that it's lagging. It's very important to note that this parallel sync has nothing to do with multiplayer as such. It's not doing anything to make the multiplayer work. It's just a tool to make it easier for the developer to test multiplayer. How are beans going? Well, we know in a moment. Right now we're just waiting on the clone to... We're waiting on the clone to open up. So here we go. So we have the clone up and running again here. Boom, 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 like that. Console, yes, here we go. So let's check out the prefabs again here, just to make sure that the player have that script on now. Yes, now it's working. The client network here is working. We don't have daytime still. I don't know why it's not syncing that change. Anyway, we can live with the changing that manually now. For now, we can live with it. So let's see. So like that, and then we go in here and we do a start host. So the green hat here going on, blah 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 blah. And let's see if we can, maybe we can get the two beans running around now. Crossing fingers. So let's see, we need to go to this one and then start client. Oh! Let's see. Hello. Where are we looking? Why can't we? Hello. Oh, here it is. Woohoo! Yeah, okay, that's why I need to be able to see which way it's looking, of course. So that's why we need the glasses, really. But it's working. And we can, so now both can move. And we can see the rotation too, which way he's looking. And the same with the other guy here. If we walk in front of the camera. Whoop, whoop. But let's let's do something else, because that hat is plain stupid, but that's how it is. Let's try and do that thing. Let's see, do we have something that is black, like some glasses? Then we do the... We don't have that, apparently. We could just smoke. Let's take some smoke. So, let's see here. So, let's do the... Boom. There you go. This is a bad guy. Again, they are not gonna look like this. It's just so we can see which way they're looking. The problem now is that... okay, we can't say... Okay, that's fine. So, but we... Yeah, we... No, that's okay. I think that's okay. Let's see. Again, it's just so we can see, you know, which way he's looking. Looking pretty sus, I know. Looks a little like Among Us, but it isn't. So, so we go here. This one. Move this guy over here. And then we can go over here and we can say start client. Boom. Oh, this is sus. Yo. But now we can see in what direction he's looking. So now it's easier for me to, you know, go in front of the other player here. So now I'm controlling this one over here. It's the server. And you can see it's moving side to side. You can even jump. So what if we just... Yoo-hoo. Yes, there is a delay, of course. And the delay is almost non-existing with what you see now. You can even see here, even locally here, there is a delay. And that delay will only get larger, you know, depending on network connection. So, but I know there are some tools for there are some tools. I think you can download some tools, or you can do something so you can, and I have to, that's also something that I will have to do fairly, you know, I will have to do kind of soon, like already. I just have to figure out where that is, but there are some tools. I don't know if I'm just can't find it, or if it's something you have to install, but there are some tools to emulate bad connections or slow connections, so that exactly to test what happens if there is like 1 second's delay, you know. Of course the delay will be there, but you can do some things to kind of predict, and it is already doing that. I saw it on the component. It is trying to, figure out where he's going next. So if I'm going this way, I guess it can see he's moving that way with this speed. So even if it doesn't get the package of him moving there, a client predicts that he might be moving here or something like that to make it look more smooth. I cannot speak Portuguese, no. But I think actually now it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes and my throat is kind of tired of speaking. So my voice... But I think we should end on a high note. This is a high note, because it actually, works. But this is a very, very, very basic thing. As you saw in the beginning, I'm moving stuff. I'm removing stuff for... let me just stop so we can get away from that ambient sound. But yeah, so I think it will end off the stream here like that. But so 2 hours and 20 minutes in, we got 2 beans running around, and that's what we wanted. So this is a very basic sample. There's a long way to go, very long way to go. As you saw, I needed to remove a lot of stuff just to make it run. So yeah. There's a lot to do. So yeah, I know you want to stop, but my voice needs a little break, and it's always good to end on a high note. So we actually end here on where it works with what I wanted. 2 beans running around, perfect. So what's next? Well, I think before starting to spawn stuff, I will have to make more of the basic stuff in the game works. So like the UI, for instance, needs to work. I need to restructure some of the input manager. I will have to redo some of that so it works in a different way. And yeah, something around starting a game really have to be changed, and some of the dependency of some stuff, so that it can work with multiple players in a map. So the thing we have right now, I could start up another clone really, and then join actually. And then join with 3 players or 4 players. That would also work in this sample, by the way. But yeah, I think the next step is to refactor and make some of the stuff I removed now work again. And I will just do that off stream, I guess, because it's not that interesting to look at, I think. And then I will also have to, because it's very easy. No, it's not very easy. It's very important to me that this end up working as simple as possible for players. So I don't want people to do anything, if I can avoid it at least. I don't want players to have to do things to use multiplayer. It should just be, click, host, boom, join, and then go. And to make it that simple is maybe not that easy, but I want to try out some Unity relay stuff, which basically make the connection between 2 computers in the world connect to each other without them actually knowing each other, and without them having to open ports and their routers and stuff like that. So that's also something I want to get set up in a basic version before moving on to spawning things. But I'm not sure I will. I don't know actually, because you could also argue that the spawning of things is more important, because that's the essential in the game, and that's also the more challenging, I guess, than the relay stuff, because the relay stuff is pretty standard. The spawning of that many stuff as we have in this game is not standard and might not be possible actually to do. I might have to do a limit on a multiplayer game, so let's say there can only be 50 fireworks in the game at a certain point or something like that. There might have to be some limitations like that, but we will know as we go. But anyway, so yeah, next step, refactoring the player, how a game is started and the input logic, and then UI stuff, and then maybe spawning, or maybe the relay stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for joining. I think we were pretty much like, oh, it says 25 concurrent viewers right now. That's pretty cool. I think that's the, okay, it says concurrent viewers, 19 one place and 25 another place in the stuff I see here. But anyway, it's more than we used to. But I know this topic is also pretty popular in the community. So I'm very actually disappointed that a certain Super Droozle is not here, because he have asked for this at every chance he had. So yeah. So yeah, keep an eye on, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell on this little thingy, because I rarely plan my streams because I can't. I just do it when I can see I have an hour or two for it, where there's kind of a silence in the house and I can actually do it. So the live streams is always a surprise. So subscribe to the channel if you want to be here next time, and join the Discord. There's a link in the description. I also put stuff up there and are active there, of course. So yeah. 50 likes, woohoo! 51 likes, yeah, shit, that's crazy. And the average view duration is almost 10 minutes. So the average viewer have been here for 10 minutes. I think that's good. I don't know, but I think it's kind of for such a tech stream like this, such a tough stream really. I think it's a lot. Hello man, is there a way to remove clouds? In the console you can change the weather, so you can take down the console like if pressing F1 for instance, and then type FM-weather, and then it will help you with some suggestions of what you can do. And the clear sky should have, that's the one that have obviously less clouds, but in all of them there is this kind of thin layer of clouds up there, and right now you can't remove them. By the way, Amnesty, the other day I figured out how to add this new weather with more clouds. Haven't done it yet, but now I know what I did wrong or why it wasn't working before. So I actually can do it now. So at some point I will add that very clouded weather, or whatever we call it. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, Amnesty, but you can rewind later on. But I actually ended up having the two beans running around with sunglasses and everything to make them look sus. But that's it for now. I need a little break from talking. So yeah, let's end on a high note, and we had the beans running. I think I will update the thumbnail on this stream with these two beans in the background. I think that could be fun. Anyway, see you in the next one. Remember, like and subscribe, blah blah blah, all that. See you guys. Bye.